While the COVID-19 pandemic has most of us locked up inside our homes, socially distancing from the community and bunkering down to play our favorite video games, there are some people out there who are working day and night to help those who have been affected by the virus. Amongst those people is the retired Indian professional CSGO player who goes by the name of Dr. Gokul Sagar, aka DNM.
Yeah. So as a child, I was always interested in sports. I've always played basketball for my school district, and then I also used to play a little bit in the university. That's how I got into Counter-Strike as well. Once I found out I was slightly good at it, I got into the team aspects, and that actually got me hooked to Counter-Strike, just competing as a team and winning tournaments, being better than others. And also medicine. I don't practice the conventional medicine where I sit in outpatient departments, seeing patients day in and day out, speaking to them, and then following them up. So I usually am mostly in an emergency setup with critically ill patients. So, and in such setups, you always also need teamwork, where you have teamwork between doctors and nurses and different specialities. You have neurosurgeons, cardiologists, all chipping in. So we need them for particular things. They need us for particular things. And also is very dynamic. Things keep changing every day, every minute. So I think that aspect of being adventurous, you might say, and also being looking for something new every now and then, challenges, is probably the similar aspects between gaming, sports, and the medicine that I practice. So it's been hard. COVID-19 has hit UK now in the last 2 weeks, I think, and it's just hit us really hard. And it's something that we haven't seen before, and it's like sudden. Huge masses of the public is getting infected. I've been with critically ill patients for a long time in my career, but I have never seen patients who get so ill so fast. They're gasping for air. No matter how much you do, the maximum you can actually provide them is just oxygen. So the illness is evolving. We are also evolving. We are changing things in our department. We're changing things in our hospital to kind of cater to this disease, and also the capacity to manage this disease. With the number of patients that's coming in every day is increasing. The deaths are increasing. The deaths are not only increasing because of the disease, but it's also because we are so overworked that we're not looking after the other patients who are supposed to be unwell as well. So it's going to improve the response, but we're just worried that the peak and the number of patients and everything is just going to outrun the improvement that we are trying to provide day by day. But it's just nothing that you can do. It's just staying away, staying at home, reducing the number of contacts, reducing the number of cases, reducing the number of patients that your healthcare system has to treat at a given point of time. And even the ones that they're treating, they have to be treated for really long periods. So it's really hard, and it's social distancing and self-isolation is the only answer that we can provide now, and just some oxygen for the ones that are ill. The gamers would probably be the safest bunch as well, because they mostly like to stay at home in this era where everybody has a computer, good internet, everybody is able to play across countries, cities, continents. They're able to play with each other from home. I think they're the safest bunch because they can stay at home. They can distance themselves. They can prevent themselves from infecting others. So they are probably the safest bunch and the easiest bunch to convince to stay at home. Also, having said that, I think a lot of gamers, especially in countries like India, where they travel to LAN cafes, they take public transport, they use about an hour of their time to go to the cafes, play in crowded cafes, which are not very well ventilated, not very hygienic. So I think those aspects aspects would be hard for the gamers, but they still need to avoid going to cafes, going to LAN parties, going to LAN tournaments for now, and also avoid crowded places, crowded public places, and just maintain a good hand and body hygiene, and help them to develop a sense of discipline, which if it's just about washing your hands after you touch everything else for 20 seconds, you can incorporate that into, in your game, and like having the sense of discipline when you're playing with your team. Proper sanitation of the desk. So it's similar to what everybody else is doing. So I think to not have food around their table is one, because anything that is food, you're directly always putting that in your mouth, and you don't have time to wash your hands. Table should have as minimum number of things as possible, so that you can keep it clean. You don't have to get into the corners. If you are infected and you have droplets on the surface of any kind of metal or wood, anything else, it can stay for a long number of hours. It's not that it's just going to go away on its own. You need to wipe it. So as much as possible, once you're done with the desk, so that none of your family members gets infected, or your elderly grandparents who come and check their meals get infected, just make sure you wipe the whole surface with everything from the keyboard to your monitors to your mouse, everything at all, with the alcohol wipes if you have. It's really hard to get the really good wipes, which are proper disinfectants, apart from in hospitals. But as much as possible, even alcohol helps to break down the outer surface of the viral, or the virus itself. So it kind of makes it sterile as much as you can with just alcohol wipes. And like I said, keep your hands away from your mouth as much as possible. Keep food away, keep drinks away when you're on desks. And yeah, whenever you travel and come back home, don't just directly sit on your computer and start playing. Go to your bathrooms, wash your hands, wash everything, change, have a shower if possible, and then come and sit on places that you normally spend long hours of the day. I'm not sure if gaming itself can wage a war against the virus, but they can definitely help slowing it down, at least the gamers, because they're a big chunk of the community now. We know gaming has reached it's become a huge spectator sport. It's reached millions of players who actually log in and play multiple games. So I think it's like a huge part of the public that plays games can isolate themselves. So that's also a way of reducing the spread. So I think they can contribute. So anything you do, even staying at home, not doing anything, is contribution to reducing the spread of the disease, flattening the curve. I think multiple governments, multiple healthcare facilities, healthcare doctors, nurses, ministers have continuously been talking about flattening the curve, and this is what you can do as a part of your daily activity by just staying at home. And the best part is that you do what you love to do, that's playing games, and sit at home and play games. So I think they can't wage a war against the virus, but they can obviously slow down the spread and help the people who are actually fighting the virus. I think it's totally different two aspects of my life. So I think it's all about respect. I think in this Counter-Strike, the one thing that has taught me is that you respect everybody, even the one who's bottom of the score, because that's the person who's probably making the calls and coming up with strategies, and the ones who's giving you the flash bangs that's required for you to make those plays. So you give everybody the due respect that is required, and I think that should be something that you always look out to do for everybody in your life, whether it's your parents, family, citizens that you work with. So now COVID-19 has just kind of expanded that to the whole population of the world. So just respect everybody, and whatever time you have, you respect that as well, because you never know what tomorrow brings you, and you might be infected, you might be sick, and you might not see your family again. I've been looking at the world's curves and the different countries, how they've been trying to manage COVID-19, and it's very early to say how long it would take for us to get rid of COVID-19. I'm pretty sure it's going to be there for at least a year or two till we get the vaccines out and till they come into like full force. And then we need to talk about how governments are implementing those vaccines, how efficiently they're going to go around and give it to everybody. Every country is hitting their peak, and it's in the next few months it's going to be peak in every country. So it might be different for UK where I am right now to how it is going to be in India, and it's different how it was in South Korea because they had a peak and then they managed really well. So I would say another 6 months is going to be really, really hard fought battle against the virus. And then probably by about 6 months, we might see little bit of stability. And then in a year or two, I'm guessing that we might have answers, because we at the moment we still don't understand the disease completely. We're just trying to symptomatically treat the patients. We're trying to reduce as many deaths as possible, but we can't really reduce it unless the transmission is reduced, and we are trying to work as hard as possible to reduce the transmission across all countries. So it just really depends on who does the best job, and so everybody has a different curve because they do it differently. So it's hard to say, but at least few months the peak is going to be there, and at least a year or two for the disease to be still there. List of top 5 games, yes, obviously CSGO is my top favorite game, and I think Dota 2 as well is my second most preferred game. Although I don't play much of Dota 2, but I used to really like watching Dota 2. I played a lot of FIFA on PlayStation as well, and I enjoy FIFA. I enjoy football. So yeah, CSGO, Dota 2, FIFA. I think Fallout 4 as well. I mean, I've tried to find time and try to buy that game and try to play it, but I haven't like really played it. But I've followed a few people who have, and they really enjoy Fallout 4. And I think the fifth one would be Call of Duty. I think, yeah, that's my fifth top favorite game.